take you back to my college years when I went down to other parts of the state, and my friends, they decided we're going to stop in a little Italian eatery near McAllister. We're going to try some spaghetti and meatballs and something called lamb fries for an appetizer. So I'm game. Didn't know what these were, but they sure tasted good. I'm joined now by Dave Cathey, food editor of the Oklahoman, and we bring you on board because you have a brand new book, everybody.
That's right.
A Culinary History of Pittsburg County, the aforementioned place where I was, Little Italy, Choctaw beer, and yes, lamb fries.
That's right. That's your basic staples when you're in Pittsburg County.
Dave, thanks so much for your time today. And congrats on the book.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
And congrats on no doubt sampling some fine food.
It's
which
tough.
went behind this food, behind the book. But tell us about the book. What's it about?
It's I guess the title's pretty self-explanatory, but yeah, it's about this very long history that we've got out in Pittsburg County, namely Krebs. Mm-hmm. Now, back in the day, that included the food, the Italian food, the sausage, the cheese, the chalk beer. You would find it in a lot more places than just Krebs back in those days. And you'll still find a little bit of that and kind of sprinkled around Hartshorn and places like that. But Krebs is the place that has really maintained that pre-state spirit of the Italian immigrants that came and
why is that? Why do you stick around there?
The one word we're looking at is coal. Coal was it.
Okay.
Right after the Civil War, they found coal deposits out in that area, actually long before that. But the rumors started spreading, hey, there's coal in them Nar Hills, that sort of thing, right after the Civil War. And here they come. The companies come, and when the coal mining companies come in, the next thing to follow is immigrant workers, because that was who they targeted in those days. In fact, the first immigrant workers were actually from the West Indies that they recruited out. That was sort of their team. A team was the West Indian guys. They come in, establish
the thing.
We're
going to Oklahoma.
Exactly. And then, so you establish it that way, and then here come the rest of the immigrants from all over Europe, and the last to arrive were the Southern Italians. And they were the last there, and they're the ones that had the biggest impact and stayed the longest.
When readers look, we're looking at some images from your book right now, and the delicious food that has been captured. When readers read this book, what can they expect? What caused you to write about this and intrigued you about it?
Well, it's funny. I took over as food editor in 2008. I've lived in Oklahoma since, I believe, 1988, 89, and I had never been to Pittsburg County at all, much less Krebs.
Because they don't have jalapenos?
Exactly. That's not a place that I would necessarily, it didn't fall in any trip that I had ever taken or anything like that. I'd heard all about it.
It's not between here and Austin.
No, it's not even between here and Austin.
But it's not.
It's kind of
right.
it's kind of a left turn. But anyway, so and then once I became food editor, I have to get out there, and it just became one of those things that, when are you going to go? When are you going to go? Finally, it was last year, October of 2012. Finally made it out there. Had a great time. Visited Lavera's, visited Pete's place, drove by all the other places. And it was honestly within a day or two after that trip, I get a call from a publisher in South Carolina, History Press, and they were in the process of expanding their book titles to include these regional culinary phenomena. And she said, "Do you have anything in Oklahoma?" Becky Lejeune, the editor, says, "Do you have anything in Oklahoma that would fit that?" And I sheepishly said, "I think I just came from there," knowing that I really, for sure, had just come from there. So I basically just was fulfilling this request to share the culinary stories of Oklahoma. And I'm glad I did, because it was a lot of fun.
All right, quick fire questions here for you. Favorite person you met down there?
Oh my goodness, that would have to be Marion Facino. He is a gentleman in his 70s. And he's not making as much chalk beer today as he did in the old days. He's getting a little older.
We all slow down.
Yeah, he's slowing down. It's not because he can't, and it's not because he doesn't like to. He said the chalk beer just doesn't appeal to him like it did when he was younger. And he talked me through and walked me through every detail of how to make chalk beer, not to mention really great homemade sausage. He and his friends get together and make something like 800 pounds at a time, twice a year.
Wow.
And spread it all out. The food in Pittsburg County, the food culture, I should say, in Pittsburg County really is more than the restaurants. It was a truly, homespun thing that turned into
family.
Yeah, exactly, and turned into a way to make money when you couldn't work in the mines anymore.
Your favorite food that you had down there?
That's a tough one. The one thing that you should know about the restaurants that are in Pittsburg County is they basically come from one family. There was a family called Choach, And one Choate daughter married Pete Pritchard, who is Pete of Pete's Place, and the other married into the family that became Giacomo's. So the 4 restaurants are owned basically by people that came from that same sisters. So the recipes are very, very similar. There's minor differences. So, but honestly, what I always come back with when I go to Pittsburg County is I always come back from sausage from Lavera's. So really, I guess I have to say that's the thing that I probably look forward to the most is the selection of house-made sausages at Lavera's.
And last question for you, for the viewers, what are lamb fries? If you haven't
Fries. Well, you know, they're from the nether regions.
They're a delicacy.
They're a delicacy. They're delicate and they're a delicacy. And, you know, they have been serving, no one who is there now could tell me when they started. They just knew that it had always happened. I got some information from here at Cattleman's about how they started serving them in the teens because they were a waste byproduct that the butchers would throw in with whatever meat you'd ordered and basically leave it up to you to get rid of. And they started serving them Cattleman's started serving them as like a little extra on the plate, like just a garnish.
Right.
And people liked them so much they were requesting them. And
better deep fry these.
That's right. That's right. And of course, you know, you got to remember that the stockyards back in those days was a real central area. So it wouldn't surprise me if someone from Pittsburg County had come in and maybe even had them at Cattleman's. But they were very popular in ranch life anyway. So they were not uncommon anywhere in those days.
A Culinary History of Pittsburg County by Dave Cathey. Where can we find this book?
I know Full Circle Bookstore is carrying it. I have a signing there on August 29th, and I have a couple of signings lined up for a couple of the Barnes & Nobles in town. So they've got them as well. I think any bookseller can get it for you, though. So rush out there. Get it.
Outstanding. Hey, Dave, congrats. That's awesome.
Thanks.
Job well done.
Thank you, sir.
All right.